So articles are surfacing all over the place that Netflix is trying to get some skin up in the game, literally and metaphorically, into the game streaming realm and try and expand on their video streaming platform. I want to explain why they are doing this at this particular time, and I want to talk about the deets of how this platform is actually going to run and if it is going to be a good value. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, share my screen over here. There are a ton of articles covering this topic. These two will be cited or sourced down there in the description below. This came out just yesterday, and I want to discuss this. Netflix is looking to hire an executive to oversee an expansion into video games. So this has been rumored for quite some time, but it's never been solidified quite like it is now. Now, granted, this is based on a rumor or a leak, so obviously take it with a grain of salt. However, it is from a reputable source, and there are many major media platforms that are covering. There are many journalistic platforms that are covering this exact news, so there's a good chance that this is quite set in stone. And this leak comes by way of Netflix reportedly approaching a veteran gaming industry executive, basically searching for someone to take charge of this branch, this project of their gaming division, their new gaming division. This information was leaked on Friday the 21st, showing that Netflix had discussed offering a bundle of games similar to Apple's online subscription offering with Apple Arcade. Now, it's unclear. We don't have any details about if this is going to be third-party games, basically a collection, a library of other exterior content, or if this is going to be original Netflix, if this is going to be original content, Netflix originals, which I have to say, if their gaming originals would be anything like their actual TV show and movie originals, Netflix has very solid originals, and in my opinion, that's kind of what's keeping them afloat as a streaming service right now. If you were to strip away their entire library of Netflix originals and just have the external content that they have, it really does pale in comparison with platforms like Amazon Prime Video, which by the way is included with Amazon Prime for delivery, as well as HBO Max and Disney Plus. So I do think that it is their originals that really stand out, as they are really good, the majority of them. So if they were to offer original games, I don't know if these would be full-fledged AAA titles like we know them, or just kind of little niche games, almost like indies. It has decided that games will not feature advertising, the report said. That would be infuriating. Maybe a 5-second pre-roll ad or something like that would be doable, kind of like what we see with YouTube videos. However, if they were to have pop-up ads in the middle of a game, you're in the middle of a boss fight and you get a pop-up and have to watch a 20-second ad about herpy cream or something, that would be infuriating. Netflix is also reportedly planning to expand its video streaming platform with a higher tier N+ subscription. That is going to be pretty expensive, I would assume, considering it is already $18 or $17.99 if you want to get official for their 4K package, where you can have 4 devices streaming at once, which has already gotten astronomically expensive in comparison to its price only a couple of years ago. But that will give users access to podcasts, custom TV show playlists, and behind-the-scenes content, among other things. So why do I think Netflix is doing this just now? Well, honestly, their platform has been slipping a little bit. They're not really plummeting, but their subscription numbers are down because, again, if you look at this article over here, which will be cited or sourced down there in the description below, and I am going to do a separate video going over the best streaming platforms in 2021, as I have at one point or another had all of these, and I currently do have 3. However, I do not pay out of pocket for any of these services, as they are wrapped in existing services that I already have, such as cell phone and home internet. But on this list here from Tom's Guide of the Best Streaming Platforms, Netflix took number 2 position, which I think is being incredibly generous. Honestly, looking at these other platforms here, I would have to put this, I would personally probably put Netflix down there in the 4 or 5 position. But again, they do list that they have very good originals, which is true. But of course, Netflix does have a very clean user interface that a lot of us have probably been used to, as it was the first video streaming platform. I'm old enough to remember when you used to get a DVD sent out to you in the mail, you'd watch it, put it in the prepaid sleeve and send it back to them, and you would get another one out. Then they started offering video streaming, which at the time was very niche, very taboo, as not very many people had fast enough internet for that to even be a thing. It'd be buffering at like 480i. Not to mention, it would only run on certain devices like Roku devices, which a lot of people didn't have. There was no supported app on the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 at the time for it. And it took a while for streaming to kind of get adopted as the new mainstream, when people's internets could handle it, and when there were applications on more platforms than just like Roku TVs. So because Netflix has steadily been watching their numbers decrease, and when I say their numbers, I'm talking about their reoccurring subscribers. So people like myself, if I were not getting this pre-wrapped in or pre-bundled in with my cellular device, my mobile phone service, I would not pay out of pocket for Netflix. I think there are too many other good solid libraries with easy to use user interfaces on things like HBO Max, to where if you were to strip away the originals from Netflix, which like I said are very good, it would not be worth the $17 a month to be able to stream 4K. They do offer a $9 a month package, but that is SD, standard definition, like 480, which is ridiculous. Then they offer like an HD package, which I believe is 720 and 1080, and then the 4K package, which honestly, I think people would just start at the 4K, as most people have a 4K TV now. That is kind of the standard. So you're looking at paying about $17 a month. Strip away the originals, then you have a pretty slim pickings library. And as Netflix was the original video streaming platform, they have a ton of money saved up and basically are trying to reinvent their brand by including things like podcasts and things like gaming, which I think would be really awesome. Now, it's unclear if you are going to be able to cloud stream from their service or if they're just going to have little third-party indie games, basically like Among Us, I guess you could think of, that you can play with your controller, turn your TV controller outside and play with it like Apple TV apps. It's very unclear. We don't have a lot of details in that aspect, but I will say they're on the right track by not including advertisements on these games. That would be incredibly frustrating. And I do think this does add another layer to the big stinky onion that is currently Netflix. So that is great. Now, hopefully they won't rotate through their library like they do with TV shows and movies, where there's something you really start enjoying and then boom, it's off the platform. Now, it's not just Netflix that does this. Basically, all these video streaming platforms remove titles so they can bring new ones in. But that would be very frustrating if you're in the middle of a game or you're near beating it and then all of a sudden it gets removed from the platform. So I'm kind of excited for this. I'd like to test it out. I have been a long-term Netflix subscriber. I have probably owned Netflix for, I want to say, 15 years or so, since they were offering the DVD mail-out program and then they started doing streaming. I've had them for quite some time. There were a couple of chunks or blocks in time where I just didn't need it, so I unsubscribed, but I always came back. Just kind of that go-to boo. Drop in the comment section below your guys' opinion of Netflix gaming, how you think they're going to handle this. Is it going to be little indies? Is it going to be Netflix original AAA titles? Or are they just going to take a collection of other games, kind of like Game Pass? If you guys enjoyed this video, liking it helps it to get seen by more people, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover a lot of news in the gaming community and industry, as well as tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.